social play all through their public school experience.
Lots too.
These students are constantly trying to catch up through MTSS, which is multi-tiered systems of support, or RTI, which is additional instruction, but often the gap where they come into kindergarten is never closed. Another glaring need is curriculum materials created collaboratively by educators at the state level on how to properly analyze if information and data are coming from credible sources. This is an epidemic in our public schools and a threat to our democracy. I have sixth graders that come to my class believing the earth is flat, that the earth is hollow, global warming is fake news, etc. Misinformation is a huge issue and it's only getting worse. Back in 1994, Proposal A was supposed to make funding more equitable as it moved funding from property taxes to sales taxes in our state. Obviously, this did not create the kind of equity that was promised. If anything, sales tax is more volatile than property tax. We need serious public school reform in our state as far as funding to meet the current and future generations' needs academically. After all, they are the foundation of our democracy, and their needs are not being met either psychologically, socially, or academically. We need to keep separation of church and state in public education, period. Public education at the state and federal level is being strategically weakened and dismantled by conservatives in power who want money diverted to charter and private schools via vouchers, which they call school of choice. Charters overall have been a big failure at creating equity in our own state of Michigan, and they will continue to be not good at the national level as well. The future of the state depends on this generation of students in our public schools, and we are failing them. We're also failing our Michigan students after traditional public education is over. While many of their counterparts in Europe have access to free undergraduate degrees, our students in Michigan are not afforded that same opportunity. Yet many of our students are still expected to compete globally in a capitalistic Western world, with their only option being student loans to obtain a competitive education. The second area I'm going to focus on is social justice. An area of social justice, I also believe the answer is in our schools. Our state needs to pass legislation that holds state funds if districts do not teach approved curriculum regarding privilege, tolerance, and systemic racism. Schools also need funding for diversity groups so minority students of color and students that are members of the LGBTQ plus community have the support they need to be successful. Finally, in the area of sustainable Earth, we desperately need to pass legislation that helps slow or better yet reverse global warming. We need to write and pass legislation that incentivizes the reduction of the use of fossil fuels and move toward the use of sustainable Earth-friendly methods of creating energy. We also need to pass legislation that protects Michigan's Great Lakes. Sorry, that's quite lengthy.
Time.
Any Q&A or?
I have a question.
Sure. Thank you, Dalton.
Yeah, no worries. So it seems like education would be one of the leading things on your platform on revitalizing education. So would you say, like, how would you say punishing, or I guess not punishment, but like punishing kids when they're in certain circumstances within the school, do you think it's beneficial to put them in like ISS or out of school suspension and make them miss those important learning topics and then never get that information again?
Thank you. I appreciate that question, Dalton. The research says if you suspend schools or suspend students in school, usually it does not. I like to focus on the behavior with students. Why are they behaving that way? With a punitive measure, usually that student is repeating that behavior more or less, in the next week or whatever. So I think the focus in schools need to be to identify the behavior, identify the antecedents. That the antecedents is like what's causing that behavior. Is it that something's going on in the home? Is one of the basic needs of that student not being met? And then problem solving as a team on getting that student what it is he or she needs to be successful. Did that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So, okay, so I got a question just to fill the void. Ready?
Absolutely.
Okay, so my favorite principle of our 10 values is the one of decentralization. What's it mean to you, decentralization?
Well, decentralization is taking the power away from the people that are in the main government, maybe either at the state level or the federal level, and bring it to the locals to make decisions at the local level regarding things such as education, policing, firefighting services. I mean, there's a plethora of things.
Anything specific for the Great Lakes? I heard you mention.
I have a good friend that fought for the Great Lakes Bill of Rights, and I know that's been overturned. And I think it's needed in all the lakes. I think, I mean, the earth overall is being attacked. I'm afraid 5, 6, 7 generations from now, are there going to be resources? Is the air going to be breathable? Is the water going to be drinkable? I mean, we're teetering on the brink. Makes me nervous.
Time.
Jim?
The next candidate's John Anthony.
Sorry, I'm back.
Sir?
Go ahead, John Anthony.
Well, in the interest of time, I would almost just as soon waive my speech, refer you to my answer to the vetting questionnaire and my statement on the candidate page, and see if anybody has any questions. I hope at some point we're going to get to actually deciding on nominating some of us or not. Because I'm glad to hear from everybody. I do want to, but at some point we may lose track of what we heard from some of the earlier candidates.
Good point.
You're muted, John.
I'm used to muting myself when I don't not being used. Just trying to center myself on the camera a little bit. Not used to using it much.
Yeah, I raised my hand. In one sentence, John Anthony, can you state your 3 main issues? Thank you.
3 main issues. Well, government is supposed to be of, by, and for the people. And the Michigan Constitution says that all political power is inherent in us, in we the people. Hasn't been working that way. We need to take it back. We don't have any more time to waste with it. Been talking, there are too many issues to narrow down 3 very easily and quickly. Have been talking with a few people about what to do about police reform, abolition, whatever. I'm not entirely sure I'm for abolition absolutely, because if police are outlawed, then only outlaws and rich outlaws and their corporations will have police, private police. So I think we need some control. I think community control very thoroughly is important. I also think that maybe one idea is to say that police and other law enforcement officers of any kind can only have qualify for qualified immunity if they are actually qualified, which would mean standards of conduct, would also mean actually being trained on de-escalation and practiced in actually using it. That's short and simple, but it's something to be done. One issue where I can bring my old transportation planning experience back is to note that since the 1960s, it's been known to transportation researchers that there's basically a kind of a field of dreams effect. If you build roads, drivers will come. You don't actually relieve any traffic jams by building more roads, and not for any particular length of time. We have to pursue other kinds of approaches. Congestion pricing is working in some
1
areas.
minute.
I don't know if we can work with that, but enough then. That's fine. I can natter on for a lot of people for a while, I guess. Equally as tired as I am. Sorry.
Anyone else on stack?
Stephen Boyle on stack.
Oh, Stephen.
One of the things that I'm kind of curious, you just mentioned, you know, if we build the infrastructure, it'll support use of that infrastructure. So one thing that I see is this state has kind of nixed the whole solar vehicle and alternative energy vehicles because we really haven't invested wholeheartedly in providing the services that would actually allow people to pick up that car and feel unfettered by a system around them that would support them. How could you see yourself working on an issue like that?
I could. I think it, in a way, at least, it could certainly fit in with what I've argued in past campaigns, that we need to make sure that our transportation system is sustainable. Probably the next point I was going to try to lead on to in what I was saying before. Means that the roads have to last longer and the builders have to be held to that. And we need to make sure that we are planning for sustainable transportation, which would include obviously what fuel energy is used when we do transport ourselves.
Time.
Anyone else on stack? We need to move forward. Okay. Next speaker, Aston Chapin. Are you here, Aston?
Another one I haven't heard from. Certainly be willing to, but I have had people suggesting people from various directions, and I've been trying to contact everybody as best I could.
Oh.
But if I haven't heard back from anybody, then
If he's not here, we can't hear from him. So let's move on.
yeah.
Dalton, are you here?
Yes.
The floor is yours, sir, for the 71st district.
Awesome. Thank you. So I'm Dalton McHouston. I'm running for the 71st of Michigan. Few things within my platform. I definitely want to incorporate greener manufacturing. I want to reform our recycling programs. I want to revitalize apprenticeships to build manufacturing skills and skilled trades. So I want to push that skilled trades are just as important as four-year universities, because as kids, I've never heard that until I was older and already in college and stuff. So it's very important, and that will help with our infrastructure to get people into these roles and these positions as apprenticeships, so they can start at a young age. I want to reform some of the unions, especially like public safety unions. So like unions within the police forces, and those type of political environments inside of certain job aspects should definitely be reformed and looked at. Definitely want to reform our medical health care. Medicare for all would be ideal, but in order to get things done with people as like Democrats and Republicans, that would be harder to just come out and completely change that whole process. So it will have to be more of a slower process. I'm thinking, but it's important to get the views of everybody and represent everybody who is at the table in our state and in my district to have a voice in these political decisions. Also, I would actually increase our gas tax for companies, for buildings, or for large corporations that use a lot of various forms of pollutants. I would make sure that we increase their taxes to about, depending on the company, of course, but I was thinking somewhere around like a $5 million tax just for that would be our base. That would be my base that I would want to do. Regenerative agriculture would be ideal for our farmers, as well as so the gas tax I would exclude from the farmers. I would look to ask them to use various forms of like their tools, their equipment. I would look for them to use something rather than just gas powered tractors and those type of deals as well. So for our Peace Corps, I would try to influence them to help with infrastructure. I would want to create a homeless corps too, a job corps for the homeless, where I would look to pay them $20 an hour if they are homeless and in need in this world. I would look to get them back on their feet as quick as possible, but that would be about each person I would do that for like a 1 year program. I would have them go through this program, so when they come out, they're a lot better than when they went in. Military cuts, I would use that to boost our economy directly, and not use that to create harm and create division in this country. I would use that to help build and not help to kill. I would also try to increase, or actually I would try to make it so that children could be on their family medical insurance until they until they are up through college, and then after that we would help to get them onto their own. I would also look for full employment for our homeless, affordable housing guaranteed in certain areas. I would help to reverse the gentrification in this country. I would look to have a fully sustainable environment, at least a city or two within Michigan, within my district by the end of my term. Also, zero waste management, affirm Native American sovereignty. So I would make sure that Native Americans in our state, because we have one of the highest states of populations for Native Americans, I would make sure they are comfortable and they are represented in these political decisions as well.
Time.
Thank you, Dalton.
Daryl?
Questions?
Daryl, your first time.
Yeah, just a quick question. Hey, Dalton. I was just curious as to how you found the Green Party and what made you want to run in the first place.
So as a child, I always knew that my calling in this world would be to help people, and anything until that point, I just never found what I wanted to do with my life. I never found how I could really help people. Yes, I mean, I created a mentorship program in my college for the local middle school. And yes, so that directly influenced me to try harder to reach more people. And so the Green Party, I always knew I wanted to get into politics, but I couldn't get into the two main parties. And I knew that it would either be the Green Party or I would run independent. But with the Green Party, I knew a lot of people were like-minded as I am. So I decided to go along with this party.
Glad you did, man.
Thank you.
Amy?
Hi, Dalton.
Hello.
Hi, glad to see you're here. I have a question for you. So you found your way to the Green Party, and I'm really happy about that. What kind of support are you getting from your family?
So my mother herself, she was extremely supportive. She was shocked that I decided to do this so quick out of high school. She wanted me to take on local governments first and stuff, but I feel like my ambitions are above just local governments. Of course, I definitely would help because any help is help. But I wanted to directly influence and help a larger population than just little old Olivet or just little Fort Wayne, anything like that. So I decided to run for state representative, and she's very happy for me. So is my family. I'm the only one in my family in Michigan. All of my other family lives in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So I kind of came out here to step on a limb and try to help as many people as possible.
Very nice. Rick?
Hi, Dalton. I know we've been talking a lot on the internet about the
Time
defunding.
after this.
What? Is
I said time after this question.
Okay. And I was just, I've been focusing a lot more on like local rural police budgets, but I know that you've been looking into the state police budget, and you just made a post today about like how expensive it is. I was wondering if you could just touch on that a little bit.
Yeah. So with policing, as I kind of asked a couple people, I definitely would like to see the budgets go down immensely. Like you mentioned with the state budget, they have a $790 budget, and I feel like that's unacceptable. And I feel like that money they can single-handedly end hunger in America, in all of America, just off of that one budget. And so I would like to see them, actually, I would like to see police officers run community programs, community relations programs, and I would like to see them build their relationships with the people in the community, because as you've probably seen on Facebook, I say a lot of things like these police officers don't even live in the cities that they're patrolling, so they have no idea of what goes on in those cities. They have no idea that people are out there on the streets in tents and walking around with nowhere to go, and been walking around for 30 years lost in these cities. And so I would like to see that money help a lot more than destroy. I would like to see that that money be reallocated into places that it will actually benefit Michigan.
Thanks.
Thank you, Dalton, and thank you for all the great questions, people. Before we move on to the next speaker, just real quick, don't forget, we've got a few speakers left, but I do want to remind you that we do have to, at the end of these speakers, have to validate all of these candidates as Green Party nominees for these positions. With that being said, Adam Garvey, are you here?
Another I don't know we'll be hearing from.
Okay. Then Melissa, I see you, Melissa Lambert, for the 99th district. It's your floor, Melissa.
Hello, everybody. First off, I want everybody to know this is all new to me. I don't know much about politics, but I do know that I don't like the way I'm seeing things going, and things need to change. I became a Green Party member here recently in the last 3 to 4 months. I was looking for something I could join and be a part of to help change the way our future is going and the way it is looking, because right now it's doomed. I'm sorry, but it is. Not just socially, but economically. We are destroying our earth. We are destroying each other. For what reason? We need to teach our young children different ways of doing things, of approaching things, of realizing things. And right now, I'm sorry, but our young children are not learning what we did. And we as a whole party, as all of us with all different ideas, different ways and different views, we all need to work together to make not only the state of Michigan, which is a beautiful state, I've lived here my whole life, but it is being destroyed by plastics and styrofoam, which is taking over our watersheds, our waterways, our forests, where we hunt, where we forage. We eat these animals and critters that come out of this water in these woods, and they're being poisoned. What's going to be left? So here I am running for the state representative to try to make a difference, to try to make changes, to try to work with each and every one of you, not only, you know, to save the earth, save our humanity, but we need to find different ways. Like Dalton, you were talking about different programs to help people once they're, you know, on the back burner. We need to stop that at the get-go. Don't let it get that far. Use that energy to help them learn in school how to become better people. But again, we've got drugs that are overtaking every city in Michigan. We our illicit drugs and our pharmaceuticals. Cannabis is a big thing to me. It saved my life. It got me off of 20 years of opiate addiction. It needs to be legal across the board, and doctors, pharmacists, and all of them need to be more open when it comes to pain management, when it comes to cannabis products. We need to work as a team to make Michigan great once and for all for our future generations. And I'm sitting here listening to all of you, and I agree with all of you, but we all need to work together as a whole to make these changes happen and get the people out of there that are in there now that don't understand what it is like to live in the
1 minute.
system, what it is like to, you know, not have funds, what it's like not to have anything and live the way you do. We need real people in office. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Questions?
Sherry?
This isn't so much a question. When Melissa first put her candidate thing on our website, she mentioned congressional, federal type issues. And I emailed her and said, you really need to mention state issues because that's what you're running for. And she came back with something that showed a very good knowledge of what state issues were. I was very impressed. And it's always good, as John Anthony's The 4-page How to Be a Candidate says, to have other people give you input and to be open to it. And she was. Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you. Both of my kids were put in prison. One was a 17, one was 20. My 17-year-old just got out at 23. He's not the same. Our prison system needs to change as well.
Amy Slepper?
Dennis Fasher. Another one back from.
There you go.
Excuse me, ma'am. My name's Dominic Scott. I can also relate to you. My mother can relate to you. I went to prison for a Class D. Pardon me. I went to prison for Class G felony, and at 17, and I understand how the prison system in this state has wreaked havoc on local communities. I don't know if you're aware, but 20% of every general fund tax dollar goes to the Michigan Department of Corrections. So you as a candidate, where would you put that money? Would you put that money back in the schools and infrastructure and put these crooks out of business, or would you just allow them to continue to destroy our state?
The DOC needs to be revamped completely. It does. We don't need to be a revolving door in and out of the system continually, making revenue, making funds off of the same people over and over. We need to train these people. You're talking bringing trades back. That's what we need in our prison systems. We need them to learn skills so when they do get out, they can and will be a productive member of our society. And right now, our DOC does not allow that. My son was on a waiting list for 3 years just to learn welding, just to have to leave it because of a gang. You're in the system, you're always in the system. We need a complete full revamp, not only in Michigan, but the whole United States. Our system should be like Norway. I mean, the return rate is 0.
Time.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Melissa.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Next up is James Vescher, District 103. Are you here, James? Guess not, so we'll move on. Rick, I know you're here. It's your turn.
Yeah, I've been talking a lot, so I'll try to keep it short. We talked a lot about the issues. The big thing I'm trying to do is get rid of the Line 5. Everybody should know about that. If you live in Michigan and you're green, you know we need to get rid of Line 5. All the Democrats at the UP are supportive of the tunnel, so I'm running as a green. That's the big issue. The other big issue I'd like to bring up is something that we haven't really talked about, is a policy that I've kind of had a project of mine that I think is going to help me gain a lot of more conservative independence on our side, is that workers' right to own. And that is being able, people who are on unemployment, they sit there and they collect a check every month. And what you'd be able to do under workers' right to own is if you get 5 people together, you can get all of your unemployment in a lump sum and then use that to start a business. And the state lends you the rest of the money at like a low interest rate. It's tax neutral. It gets people back to work. It gives people their own money. It builds worker cooperatives, which is so much like just such a better business model, and also prevents offshoring and closing down businesses. There's a paper mill in my district that shut down. It was bought out by the Koch brothers, and they just shut it down because of competition. It was competing with one of their other businesses. They bought it out. They shut it down. A couple hundred people lost their job, and now that town is a complete ghost town. Ontonagon. It went from, they were at 20,000 people, and then now there's 2,000. It just, population tanked, everything left. They're left with like paying for this infrastructure, and it's terrible. Like, if that policy was in place, those employees could have gotten together the second it closed, bought the factory back, kept it open, kept it running, kept it was a profitable business, and it closed, and so they wouldn't have lost any money. And then the only thing that would have changed is they all would have gotten a raise. And so that's one of the big issues I'm pushing, that defunding the police, Medicare for all, eliminating Line 5, and also suing Enbridge and using the money to put towards pumped hydroelectric storage, which is a thing that they're studying in the mines in the UP. Using old mine properties for energy storage, for renewable energy. It's just you pump water up the shaft, let it drain down the shaft when you want to use it. And those are basic policies. I'm putting my
1 minute.
I'm putting my social media links in the feed if anybody wants to reach out to me, and that's all I got. Any questions?
Thank you, Eric. Questions from the floor?
Jessica.
Where is District 110?
District 110 is the Western UP, so it's everything basically west of Marquette, Gogebic, Ontonagon, Baraga, Iron, Keweenaw, and Houghton counties, all the hardest pronounced ones in the state, pretty much.
Okay.
Dalton.
Hello. My question for you would be, so I'm not, obviously I've never been to the UP, so I don't know much about it, but how do you feel about foreign companies like Sweden and like the Swedish companies that pump the millions and millions of gallons of water a day out of our Great Lakes? And then what about like some of the like Chinese companies that they are paid to deforest some of our forests in the UP and that type of deal? So how would you feel about like foreign companies in Michigan like that deplete our resources?
Well, one of the things that I think, like, to take that one step further, when you say there are resources, is actually, that's another one of the things, is the mineral rights should be given back to the tribes. So like the government of Michigan shouldn't be deciding what's going on with those resources. The tribe should, especially in the UP, where it's mostly like there's still a lot of reserve land. There's still a lot of tribal land. And so like, that's something that should be left up, like what to do with all the resources. And that's like one of the other issues with like Enbridge is a Canadian company, and like it might get shut down because of a tribal litigation in Wisconsin. The Bad River Chippewa have like put an injunction against it, and they should be able to do that against foreign companies. And I would assume that most of them would like to stop the extraction, or at least utilize the resources in a more reasonable way, because that's like historically what was being done up here, well before the state government started selling it off to foreign companies.
Jim? You're muted.
Sorry. Just a quick question. What does your competition look like up there?
Laughable,
Strong?
actually. No, it's laughable. So like the Republican incumbent, he won by only 500 votes against the Democrat, and the two of them, 18,000 votes in a district with 90,000 people. Our voter turnout is 46%. So like, it's real low. It's mostly non-voters, mostly people who don't think that either in the UP, people think that politics is a thing that happens in Detroit, basically. They know that the government, like the parties are centralized, and they don't care. Like the Democratic Party doesn't organize up here. They don't send any resources. And so there's 3 people running. None of them even have social media at all. One of them lives in Wisconsin. Like, I don't understand how he literally just ran for state Congress in Wisconsin, and now he's running for state Congress as a Democrat in the UP against like 2 other people. All 3 of them support the Enbridge pipeline, and none of them have any sort of on the ground organization. I was an active member of like the local Democratic Party for the past 2 years, because I saw AOC get in, and I'm like, yay, we can finally make the Democrats a working class party and like a progressive, like we can get all this stuff going. And like, especially if I push up here, because like, you know, most of the Democrats up here are moderates. And like, if I go to the state convention and I just saw the corruption just get, they try to ban recording at the state meetings because like the people were using proxy votes inappropriately, and like banning the climate debate because the teachers union had 40, the leader had 40 proxy votes. So yeah, basically the Democrats up here don't have an organization at all. It's in their 80s. There's like the county Democratic Party for Gogebic is 7 people in their 80s getting Chinese food once a month. That's the party. So this is more organizing than I've done with the whole Democratic Party in 2 years in just this meeting. So I think I actually stand a chance, or at least I stand a chance of getting a pretty high percentage.
Very good. Thank you. Anyone else on stack?
No one else on stack.
Jim, you're muted.
Jim, you're on mute.
Sorry. I'm so used to hitting that mute button. We're looking at county partisan races and nonpartisan GPMI endorsements. We have 3 speakers. Joshua Hellman, are you here, Joshua?
He was actually for Jackson County, Illinois. I don't know how we got his name, but he finally got back to us and then told us, thank you, but I'm running somewhere else.
All right. Well, that takes care of that. All right. That brings up Eric Beauregard. Are you here yet? The floor is yours. For Washtenaw County Commissioner, District 2.
He is here. He's muted. I don't know if he's actually at the, like.
Well, he may be dozing off too. No,
someone- Can someone poke him?
Hello, is this me, for me?
okay, he's coming on.
Oh, okay. I have to go on now. Sorry, Clyde. I was talking to Clyde. Yeah, Eric Beauregard. That's good, right? Not hearing anything back. Must have shut me off.
You're on.
Oh, I'm on. Okay. Yeah, I'm Eric Beauregard. I'm from Washtenaw County, and I'm the county rep. I'm also running for county commissioner in the 2nd district, which is the northern part of the county, Webster Township, Dexter, Northfield, and probably my biggest issue would have to do with Huron River. It's just polluted and a lot of people get water from it. It's got PFAS, dioxin flowing into it. You have a lot of runoff from sewage. The treatment plant, is an issue. I guess they just filter, but they really can't fix that. And we have a lot of pesticides and like the lawn spraying and stuff. All that fertilizer goes into the river, and Lake Erie is green. They fertilize the river and it all ends up there. Another issue that's really important is mental health. They do put too much money into the police. I am for defunding and actually disbanding the police department. And it should reflect the state demographics, which is like 51% women. I know that's pretty radical, but they're 51% women, and nowhere near any of the police forces represent that demographic. You might get rid of a lot of the machismo out of the thing, the TV cop thing, it's crazy because kids grow up and this is what they think is normal. It should be 13% Black, and LGBTQ trans should be represented there. And I think, so what I would do is I would have them reapply for their jobs. And, after they're screened. I'm a substitute teacher in Ann Arbor, and a few years ago, they had a problem with the substitute teacher service. So they reorganized the service, and I had to reapply for my job. It's not an unusual request. We had some problems a little while ago. There was, it's an ongoing problem. One of the police advisory commissions said that they have meetings like 4 or 6 times a week. It's like 70 a year. We had one that went kind of national. Is Sheena Tina Grady. Her and her husband were at a scene of a shooting, and a police officer attacked it. The only reason people know about it is because it's on tape. But I know from my experience going down to the local courthouse, it's all young people. There's a reason why there's a lot of white kids in these protests. They're being attacked too, and their lives are being ruined for really stupid reasons, other than the fact that the cops have to make a living, and they're the easiest to pick on. And so I would reorganize the jail and basically depopulate it, except for the most violent and dangerous to society. So I guess I'll take questions.
Sherry?
Yes, I think it was Adrian, we had a green who was running, I think, for county commission, and he was running on a very environmental issues, and it's like the community didn't seem to understand how important that was. Are you running into that too? It's your number one issue. Do the people in your county commission district truly understand it is?
The people that care about the environment are actually a minority, and they're becoming more vocal. Particularly things that really, visually affect them, like they cut down along the roads. Basically, we had a situation with the county commission. They saw some cash and some old trees cutting them down, and they didn't care if it was wildlife or anything. They had their deals with their contractors. The county commissioner, unfortunately, the road commission, it's the people are elected or, by the county commission. So you only get a chance to have an effect on that board so many years. They're professionals. They got kind of contacts within sort of a clique of state transportation workers, or all kind of, that's their role. So you only get like approval. You can put in your complaints. It was a lot of that way. Like we had the tree cutting thing. We all show up at our local township hall, and then basically they send one of their little lieutenants come over from the road commission and tell us, oh, well, we're making money from this, sorry, And then our county commissioner, she don't even show up. The state representative did, to her honor. And there was a lot of, and there was, after a while, people were coming up and telling them the whole place is full. They finally said, is anybody against this? It's that out of, it's like that kind of a wacky Keystone Top thing going on.
Nobody else on stack.
Okay.
Wonderful. Well,
okay, thank you.
Eric.
Thank you.
Okay. Our last speaker on the partisan and nonpartisan rates is for the clerk, Northfield Township, Washtenaw County. And I'll butcher your name. So Marissa, if you're here, the floor is yours.
I am. It's Marissa Prisgent. It's just like it looks, really.
Thank you.
And thank you. I am seeking the nomination for to be the next clerk in Northfield Township, which lies in Washtenaw County. It is the area most commonly referred to as Whitmore Lake. I'm a lifelong resident of Michigan. I grew up in the Flint area, and I graduated from Central Michigan University in 2004. So I spent some time in the Mount Pleasant area as well. The bachelor's degree in political science. From a young age, I always knew that I was going to go into politics and most likely leadership. That is until, of course, I actually started studying politics. I started college in the fall of 2000. Immediately, I aligned myself with the Greens, did some campaigning for Ralph Nader. Obviously, there was absolutely nothing about the 2000 election that gave me any warm, fuzzy feelings about the bipartisan system. Nothing in the events that followed shortly thereafter at the turn of the millennia that made me feel good about our country in general. So I'll be honest, I became quite a bit alienated from politics for many years that followed. I did get my degree in political science, but I kind of took a break from politics for many, many years after that. But in 2016, when Trump was elected, I had a lot of anxiety about where the world was headed. And I just felt like I needed to do something. So I started getting involved in local politics. I started looking for things that I could do on a township level, just to see what was going on in my own backyard before looking beyond, because beyond was a little bit overwhelming to me at that point. It helped. It really did. I learned a lot about local happenings. And I see a lot of potential in our township to help improve the processes and help kind of bring it into the future. It's a very small township. It's got a lot of conservative ideals. But I think the tides are changing. The biggest reason that I'm running is to secure a 1/7 vote on the Board of Trustees, more so than the clerk position in particular. There are several projects in the pipeline that have either been stalled or been kind of like kicked down the road by our current board, pretty much due to a lack of consensus, including an installation of a much needed water retention basin for our sewage to keep it from overflowing into the Huron River watershed, as Mr. Beauregard was just talking about. Also that the sale of some township owned land that keeps getting stalled, and a clear communication plan. Our board, I do believe that they try to engage the public, and they're working on their levels of transparency, but there's certainly a lot of opportunity into moving from simple transparency into accessibility. So I've really been trying to get my neighbors involved and kind of drive some of that political apathy at the local level away. There's definitely a distinct small town dichotomy here. It seems to be like the agricultural district on the outskirts towards between Whitmore Lake and Ann Arbor versus downtown development. And I want to help both. I want responsible development in the area and strategic land preservation efforts on the outskirts. I'm an appointed member of the Northfield Township Land Preservation Committee. We work with existing programs. thank you, like the Ann Arbor Greenbelt, to find funding to preserve farmland and open spaces. On the other side, 2018, 2019, I co-founded a political action committee known as Northfield Township Green Growth to a proposed proposal 1 on November 5th of last year, which was a citizen-led referendum to oppose, to ban cannabis businesses within the borders. We were successful, and currently potential owners of cannabis businesses are in the process of going through the planning commission and getting their licenses approved. So hopefully that will bring some much needed traffic to the downtown area. I'm already qualified. I already submitted paperwork and I'm qualified to run as an independent, but I've always aligned myself with the Green Party. And I'd love to help advance the Green Party by adding it to my name on the ballot. I've got a good chance here. It's a small town. I've been very active and I volunteer. And there's no Democrat running against me either. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Marissa. Before we move to questions, there's a caller that just came on. Can you identify yourself, please?
Hello.
And they're gone.
Okay. All right. Do we have any questions?
Frank Foster on the SAG.
I just actually don't really have any questions. I actually support you, Marissa. And if you want, I would be more than happy to help you with your campaign. So leave me your info and I'll get a hold of you after this.
Thank you. That's great.
I got a quick question. Have you ever run for office before?
No, I haven't. This is my first time. I've served on appointed committees, but this is my first official run for office.
Jennifer,
one more.
Carolyn?
Oh, no, go ahead. Sorry.
You're next.
Oh, great. Hi, so excited to see people elsewhere running in township positions. So first, I just want to offer my assistance if you have any questions. I'm heavily involved in local township politics in Redford myself, so I'm happy to chat with you after about anything I can do to help you with, that kind of a campaign. My question as running for clerk, do you have anything in terms of, within your platform and what you want to run on to change how elections are run in your local community?
I do not have anything specific to how the elections are run. However, I do have a detailed platform plan to increase transparency and create a communication plan for the township to publish as a public notice, outlining when the public will be notified and why about different things happening. There's always in that small town kind of at the last minute, people kind of like to show up at the township meetings that you haven't seen in a year, 2 years, and throw a wrench into everything. And that happens a lot. And I think that it's important for the board to be proactive about that. So we could say, hey, here's exactly when we're going to notify you. Here's where you can find all the information. Here's when we'll send you a mailer. And now it's up to you if you have feedback in the meantime to get here on time and share your feedback with us in that way.
Daryl, then Jessica.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask a similar question as what Jennifer did. So she did pretty good at answering that. So, go ahead, Jessica.
My question was going to be with running as a township clerk as someone who would be responsible also for the elections. I guess it's kind of similar, but what is your experience with the exception of voting when it comes to it? Have you gotten to work as maybe like an election inspector or challenger or anything like that?
I'm a trained election specialist in Washtenaw County. So yes, that's over.
Anyone else on stack? Okay, then. Well, we've made it through a lot of speakers today, a lot of candidates. I guess at this point we have to decide. No one's running against each other. We've got a lot of Green Party candidates. we need to decide if we want to support all of these candidates and be our nominees for these positions. Any thoughts?
Support them all. Let's get some Greens in office, y'all.
I have a quick question in terms of are we allowed to, for the minutes and for purpose of the election, to nominate everyone as a whole, or do we have to go through the nominations individually? I just want to make sure legally, you know, how we go about doing that.
John Anthony.
There's no particular legal problem, as far as I'm aware. We've done it before. We've done things in the past. We have sometimes done chunks of people together, like all of the state Senate or House seats, or all the local things. We could also take a standard motion for everybody, and then somebody could ask if we could separate one person or another person if they really wanted to as well. But that's more process, not law that I know of.
Lock them up.
If we could nominate everyone as a show of unity, I think that would be pretty cool.
I believe that we should nominate everyone. Yes, I'm there.
I support.
Okay,
Sherry?
Point of order about Michael Malawi and Clyde Shabazz.
What is the point?
Michael needed to decide if he was running for either the suggested office or the one he currently went to. And Clyde, I guess, called in to run for said original position.
Oh. Good catch, Jessica.
Actually, I think Michael has left the meeting.
He was trying to get back on via phone. He had to go run and do something. So I'm not sure if that might be him on the phone, or can someone confirm who the phone caller is?
We have one person on the phone. If you could identify yourself, please. And they're gone again.
We could defer those to everybody but those two, and then see come back to them.
I have a quick question. You know, we can, if everyone agrees, we can do those nominations, and if there's a problem with them getting back on the call, and if for some reason he decides not to run, just not filling out the forms and sending, you know, a letter of disinterest can fix that as well, just as an FYI for that discussion.
Came up with a good idea.
That would also be great.
Sherry's on stack. Sherry?
Sherry, you're muted. Oh.
Yeah, I wasn't able to clone myself and be two places at once. And so I had a burning question I was not able to ask Marcia Squire. And that is, if contrary to what she did last time, in which the Green Party didn't show up on her literature, did she say that she would have it on her literature this time?
Out of order.
I think that the time for discussion has already passed.
Well, I do think that Jennifer Kurland had asked something like that as well. Jennifer, are you still here? And could you address that briefly for Sherry?
Yes, I did ask that. I mean,
thank you.
And Marcia did say that she would, you know, use the Green Party and put our information on her literature.
Okay, wonderful. This time.
We do have a motion to decide upon. Let's
Still
get
three
that
people
out
in
of
the
the way.
stack.
Sorry.
There's still three people in the stack. You want to close the stack?
Go for it.
Frank Foster.
I can go ahead. I accidentally pressed it.
Amy Schlepper.
which is actually Robin, right?
It's a bunch of people, yeah. John Anthony.
My hand's down now. I was trying to figure out, is there a way to just turn the hand off?
I think you can do it, but maybe not. I don't know. Rita.
Button again.
I had I think Michael left a note here in the chat about his absence, and I think I can't find it right off here, but I think he said that he was willing to run for the other position that he was asked about. And I think until we find out exactly what he's running for, that we should not vote on the entire slate of candidates.
Found a message at 2:51 p.m. from him saying, if Shabazz wants to run against Brenda, it lends to the argument that I should run for regent.
I think you might have just come back in.
He will probably come back in before the convention is over, and I would suggest that oh wait, he's here.
Telephone number 248-8202. I'm sorry, 248-202-0167. Can you identify?
Yep. Yes, this is Michael Malwai. I switched over to my cell phone so that I could do what I promised that I would do for a friend while continuing to receive information on the conference.
Thank you.
Nominate.
We're going to wait in this point until Michael makes up his mind before we decide on all the rest of the candidates. Is that what we're looking at?
I believe I had sent a message on the chat for the Zoom before I had left about considering the pros and cons. And I believe that it should be up to the Greens themselves. Where do you think you need me? If you need me as a regent, I will run for regent. I feel honored just to be nominated to run for Congress. And the strategy that I had outlined is certainly valid for Mr. Shabazz if he would like to use it or for his campaign. And I'm just happy to be of service. You know, this is all about public service. It's not about me. It's about us.
It's wonderful.
I believe with that taken into account, can I make a motion to accept his floor change position to regent and do Clyde for the 14th as the accepted nominees for those positions, and then we can vote as a group afterward?
I second.
I second it. Sorry.
Who for the 14th district? I'm sorry.
Clyde, I missed the last name. He was running. Shabazz. That gets us 2 candidates versus 1 fighting for.
I support.
Any blocking? Okay, so
In the
that's
chat-
accepted.
In the chat, we've got motions and seconds for Michael for regent.
All right. So we're good then, right?
Now we can vote for if we want to accept the nominees as a whole.
Should we do that without the 2 co-chairs here?
They are Green Party members.
Right, but shouldn't they have some input on this, don't you think?
And both Tom
Both
and
co-chairs
Amy
are
are
here.
here.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I seen, okay, I see him now. I'm sorry, Tom's just, I thought he must have had his phone up or something.
Tom on the stack.
All right, I'm good with everything then.
Yes, I'm good with that. Vote for everyone that is asking to be nominated. Just vote for them all as one group. And we could probably hear from John Anthony. You know, once somebody accepts nomination, there is a legal number of days that they have to withdraw. And it could be looked at that way.
Not
and
for
I wanted
us.
to I'm glad we had some discussion about U of M Board of Regents. I appreciate that, but I'm flexible. Thank you.
We don't get that 3-day grace period, except I think for Susan Hubbard. I think she still gets it, but then
Okay.
she's not a Green Party candidate anyway, even if we nominate her.
Okay, so then it could be by default and somebody doesn't turn their paperwork in. So
that's also true. Yeah. If the
okay,
paperwork doesn't,
thank you.
No,
I'm paying
Rita,
attention. Thank you.
Rita and I went through that. Remember, Rita, when we were up there and someone had withdrawn, but he didn't submit the letter in time and he wound up on the ballot anyway?
Aaron Mariassi, I think it was, MSU trustee.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think, no, I think that he was able to withdraw.
I saw him on ballots.
Oh, did you? Okay. And I don't remember, I guess.
It was a weird situation.
Yes, the whole thing
So
was
do
weird.
we have consensus on the nominees then?
Yeah. We did.
Good. Congratulations, everyone. Good luck on your campaigns. I'm sure that we'll all be willing to help wherever we can. Nice to see a lot of Greens. I mean, my goodness, a lot of Greens, running for office this year. It makes me proud. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Rick on Stack.
Hey, now that we have a list of nominees, if I could get those, I've been talking with the people at the editors at Ballotpedia. If we could get that list to them as soon as possible, we have 2 months where anyone who puts in their name in Michigan will only see our names come up, because the Republicans and the Democrats don't have their primaries until August. So if we submit our list of nominees now, all summer long, anybody that looks up and punches their zip code into Ballotpedia, our names are the only ones that come up, and that's going to benefit us a bunch.
Yeah, so as soon as the paperwork gets put in, let's do that. Definitely.
John Anthony on Stack.
Yes. I was gonna say something the same thing. I do, as I say, still need addresses for Clyde and Michael, because I didn't have them on my pre-convention lists. And we also do need to nominate some electors. We can pause and do something else first, but that's something that still needs to be on the agenda.
Point of order. When will we be getting the results of the presidential primary polls?
Well, I don't know for certain. I did some work and I sent it to Daryl. I don't know if how much time he's had to look at what I did to check it. I can give a preliminary result if you want, but let me ask Daryl. Let's ask Daryl first.
Yeah, not much, but I am looking at that right now. So I don't know.
We'll wait for
maybe an hour.
results. We'll wait for the official results.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Liz.
Sherry on Stack.
Next.
Yeah, Rick had given some good advice about Ballotpedia, because when he first mentioned, I said I had submitted to them a while back some other election and they never put me on. And he said, check back within a week and just keep after them to make sure that you get put on. That probably goes for everything. As Kermit said, it ain't easy being green.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the 2 months window there, because I know my opponents are on Ballotpedia as well. So
No, I think you said like about a week later to check and go after them.
The candidates will be listed on Ballotpedia, but if you put in like your zip code, and it'll only list the people who are for sure on the general election ballot. Like the candidates will be listed for the primary election, but not in the general election ballot. So if you just like go to the site and type in your zip code, it'll show you the general election ballot for November. And there was a glitch for a minute where I was the only one on there, and then they took me off because I didn't have I wasn't an official nominee yet. And I talked to them about it, and they're like, okay, like normally they would wait until there was a primary. I was like, well, we don't have a primary, we have a nominating convention. And they're like, well, okay, technically we'll have to put you on after you're nominated. And I was like, awesome. And so it's been a ordeal with them, but like I think I convinced them, and so they're waiting on us.
John Anthony on Stack.
Just more on that. there are 5 other non-major, alternative parties on the ballot, 4 other on the ballot. Some of them will be nominating eventually. Never can find out when the Natural Law Party will meet. I believe the Taxpayers Party and the Libertarians are mid-July, just after, I think just after when the Democratic Party was going to be and when our national party convention is. So we'll have at least a month ahead of them. Working class party, I don't know.
Okay, moving on. Just take a few brief minutes. Oakland County had their caucus, Sherry, about 10 days ago, 11 days ago. They did have some nominees. Of course, Sherry Wells, State House, District 27. Destiny Clayton, Oakland County Commission, District 17. Nicholas Rowley, Oakland County Commission, District 18. And Jessica Venture, Clerk, Waterford Township, Oakland County. Would any of you like to speak for a couple minutes or a minute?
Certainly. You've got 3 of us here. Nick has a bunch of other meetings, even though he tried to get into this one. You have the link to our caucus, and we all made wonderful statements. I looked at it again and took notes because I'm going to be doing a press release. Jennifer helped me with a logo, and my 4 issues are public education, prison reform, public transit, and protect families for running for state rep. It's a district that covers the southeast corner of Oakland County, which, as I said to Michael, includes Oak Park. So I certainly welcome him to help us run as well. We can all run together because his statewide and our local ones can share some of the same volunteers. So we have Nick's running in the county commission, which is totally within my state rep district. So that will be just a wonderful thing and the 3 square miles that Destiny's running in the same district, we'll have all those ballots, we'll have 2 Green Party people on them each, besides the so-called higher offices. So I think that's very, very exciting. Definite Green Party presence. It's also what I'm calling a farm team, because at some point we can get people running, getting to know what they're running, getting known, and we can actually get rid of some of these idiots at the top. Next.
Anyone else want to speak from Oakland County?
Destiny, do you want to go? I'll let you go first.
Hi, I'm Destiny. I wasn't expecting to talk. I'm a disabled veteran. I switched over to the Green Party in March after finally getting fed up with trying to work inside the Democratic Party. I believe in pushing community services like mental health and healthcare in general over police funding. If anybody has any questions.
She's also strong on mental health, which is a better place to put some of this police money. And all 3 of us have applied for Sierra Club endorsement. I don't know if that deadline is passed for other people, but I would really like to see them endorse Green Party.
I was also at the convention and I got nomination for the Waterford Township Clerk. I just wanted to let people know that I have over 10 years of electoral inspector experience. I know how the ballots work. I know what our catch system is in absentee ballots. I know how to double check. The precinct that I've been working in Genesee Township up in Genesee County, because that's where I'm originally from, the entire time I worked had 0 errors. I wanted to let people know that one thing that I'm going to try to push for is voter reform as far as making sure everyone has rights to an absentee ballot. I want to try to get ranked choice voting, at least push at a local level, if not federally. And Also, all of the machines that people with disabilities get to use to vote, they cannot run independent. They have to have a worker help them to use, and they're kind of insane. So I don't like them, and I want to try to get a new machine in there that's more handicap user friendly for those that are blind and deaf and hard of hearing. And I'm also going to be going to school for sign language so I can help reach a broader base. And honestly, I think I'm the best candidate because the current holder of the position was hired in because the person who held it beforehand retired. And so no one's voted for them. There's no real like loyalty ties. And as I'm coming up with my new campaign slogan, when nothing's ventured, nothing's gained.
Nice.
All right. Thank you, all you Oakland County Caucus people. Good luck on your campaigns. Okay, moving on. I don't know how's the poll coming along, Daryl and John Anthony?
Well, I'm going to try a different way to put in the information on the hard copy ballots that I've got, because I gather Daryl has already done that and then combined his with the information on the online ballots. I don't know. He's taking the time now to keep checking the spreadsheet assembly I had done, but we'll have cross checks on that one way or the other. If you need me, try and get me one way or the other about the electors. One note before I go off to do some more ballot counting. The state law does talk about having statewide electors or electors tied to a particular congressional district, because you get 2 for the Senate seats and 1 for each House seat. But it doesn't actually say you have to have it distributed that way. It would be better for being grassroots, I suppose. But we can just say all of our elector seats are at large for the statewide. I'll leave it at that for right now.
Okay, I'm not sure exactly what that means. But
it's just ideally we should have 2. We should have 1 elector from each congressional district and 2 to represent the whole state. Theoretically, that's the way it's supposed to work. But if we can't spare the time to actually find that kind of distribution right now, we have to get it done today. We can just say the heck with it. We'll call them all at-large seats.
I have a question. What kind of paperwork do we need to fill out for that?
Just another certificate of nomination.
If you think that would be easiest, I think we should do that.
Well, I'll leave it. If we can find it, if we can do it, we can do the time, that's fine. If we can't, mostly let's first gather up who's willing to do the thing.
Yeah, Lou and Rick raising their hands.
Oh, good.
Why don't we ask people to raise their hands in the participant gallery?
I'm not able to, but if we got other people wanting to do the job.
Yeah, but, we're spread out over. We can't really see who's raising their hand on.
Oh, yeah, they float to the top, but I'm not able to raise my hand. But like I said, we got other people wanting
Well,
to do it.
yeah, but you're one of the co-administrators here, so you can add yourself.
Honestly, I don't see how I can raise my hand, but I'm not going to anyway, so I'm going to let it go.
Do we have a motion on the floor for at-large versus district representation or not?
Motion for at-large.
There is, I'm not.
Second,
I do not believe such a motion was yet presented, Jeff. I think a question called was, who's willing to stand as an elector?
Yeah. And do we have enough people volunteering right now to cover everything?
and we can't really use the hand raise on that because the three co-hosts cannot raise their hands. So it'd be better to use a yes vote on that.
Oh. Oh, I see what you're saying, yeah.
I'm raising my hand.
Okay, Lou, you still raising, I guess raise your hand or vote yes, I guess would work as well.
You click yes for us.
Yeah.
Right now.
We're voting on this now?
These are people who are willing to do it, correct?
You and me?
Okay.
We're asking for folks who would be willing to act as presidential electors. Yes. Raise your hand, put yes in the chat, unmute yourself and scream loudly. We need how many? 15 or 17?
16.
Now,
60.
is this the same thing as our delegates that we've been voting on?
No,
Go to the PNC?
no, this is totally different.
Okay.
I didn't know about this until yesterday, and John Anthony put a little blurb on it in here on the form that he gave us with all of the candidate responses to the vetting questionnaire. Oh, anyway, this form here, I have some orange stuff on it, but he put a little block down here in the bottom here, a little reminder. There's one paragraph about it, and I didn't see it till last night, and I had no idea.
Could you read that to us, please?
Yes, I will. It says, in a presidential year, we need presidential electors. Our 2020 state convention must nominate 16 presidential electors who are prepared to go to Lansing to cast Michigan's electoral votes for the green ticket at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on December 21st. If you are interested in being nominated as an elector, please email elections@greenparty.org and or sign up using the Add a Candidate button on this webpage, and that's for the candidates. He said some years we've tried to select one elector from each of Michigan's U.S. House districts and 2 statewide senatorial electors. Others we've just made the full slate statewide. State law mentions both kinds of electors, but does not require us to have both kinds. Okay.
Question.
That's about it. You said it may come down to volunteers for this job, and will you? I didn't see this till yesterday.
This sounds just like those presidential delegate candidates.
Well, it's not. These are the electors, you know, for our electoral system at the national level, where we go actually cast our electoral votes for the presidential candidates.
Huh.
The electoral college, you
Yeah,
understand that? Yeah.
I'm learning, but I'll believe whatever you say.
Just a question. If I commit to this, I'm only committing to December 21st, correct?
That's right. Sounds like it to me.
All right. Well, I'm willing to help then.
It's just a one-time thing to show up on the 21st of December at
Jeff,
2 p.m. Eastern Time.
It is traditional to ride a horse all the way to Washington.
I don't know about that, but
cast those votes. So remember, you'll be on horseback.
So you'll be part of the
coming down on my
electoral
electric
college,
snow
I
field.
guess, you know, so.
Okay, so just to be clear, this is for the electoral college delegates, not the presidential delegates.
That's correct. Not
Are
the
you-
not
are
the
you allowed to
nominating
vote?
delegates.
Are you allowed to be both?
John
It's
Anthony?
it's an elector. Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay.
Okay, well,
Sorry.
I'll
So far, I see 10 people on the list.
Sorry.
Why don't you read them off to make sure that
Was there a question?
Can you be both an electoral delegate and a presidential delegate?
Yes, you can be both a delegate to our presidential nominating convention and an elector. You cannot be an elector and have an office of profit or trust, whatever the phrase is, with the federal government. That's why Tom Mayer couldn't be, because he worked with the TSA, as I recall. But
So there are 10 volunteers so far.
do you have them written down somewhere?
Yeah.
Because our live stream died somewhere along the line.
I was back up after you told Dan that it was down.
Oh, was it?
Yep.
Because when I tried to go back and look at it, it said that it had been removed.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was the cussing or what, but apparently we violated the terms.
Oh.
Rita, let me read off the
our-
names to you.
Dan is our secretary. He's supposed to be writing all this stuff down.
Dan, let me read off these names to you if you can write them down.
Go for it.
Jean-Michel Crevier.
Got it.
Lou Novak.
Got it.
John Anthony LePietro. Marcia Squire.
Okay.
Jessica Macaulay Arquette. Dan Mills. Amy Schlepper. Is that in fact Amy or is that Robin?
Back up. And so after Jessica, and tell me what's the last name, Jessica?
Macaulay Arquette.
All right, man. And then the next one?
Dan Mills.
And then what?
It's Amy Schlepper, although I don't know if that's Robin. Robin, I see you there. Is that you or is that Amy?
Robin's muted.
Robin.
Robin is there, but she's not talking.
Yes, I'm trying to get her attention.
I don't know how.
There.
I don't know if she can't hear us or she's
now
got
she's
us
talking.
Still muted.
Robin, you're muted.
How about now?
You're okay.
Good. Is this
Okay,
Is this yes for you or is it for Amy?
both of us.
Okay. So Robin Lorraine, Amy Schlepper.
And Melissa.
Right.
Because we're all at the same place.
All right,
Melissa.
so that should be like 13 now, I think.
What's the last name?
Melissa Lambert.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Destin,
Don't forget that Sparling guy that's been a pain.
Jeff
What?
Sparling.
There you go.
Rick Sourmilch. Sourmilch? Rick, help me with that.
You had it right the first time.
Thank you. And
Jeff,
that's all I got.
I was using the restroom.
And Frank, you had your hand up, didn't you?
Yes. Yes.
So
I
you're
did.
on the list too?
Yeah, I hope so.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
you didn't respond with a raised hand or a yes, so.
I had my hand raised the whole time.
Yeah, we're doing it in the participants list. So, and Jeffrey Rubley is raising his hand as well.
Oh,
Please add Stephen Boyle to the list.
now we are recording this, aren't we, Jean-Michel?
In theory, yes.
Okay, and I got a camera going right over my shoulder. You can see it. And I'm making notes here too. And so we should be in good shape. But you never know.
We're going to.
So we still need-
going to need. Sorry, we are going to
still
need
need-
addresses too.
You crashed. What'd you say?
We need addresses too.
Monica Schwab has stepped
Okay.
forward to volunteer in the chat.
Ooh. I think you may have to be a citizen.
Monica's not a citizen?
I don't believe so.
Not even a dual citizen?
Dual German and Canadian, I think it was last I heard, but we could ask her, certainly.
Really? How can that be?
I don't know.
Is Destiny Clayton on the list? She's
Yes.
okay, very good. Thank you.
So did you get me on the list too, Frank Foster?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
How
So
many more?
You have 16 yet?
Marcia, you're next up on the stack.
Yeah, that was just me raising my hand for,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. Okay.
I'm gonna take that down
Right.
now that you wrote me down.
Yeah. Thank you.
Do we have enough people?
And what's the count?
I was just double checking. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Boom.
Nice.
Do we need to vote on that?
Heard.
Jim, you still around?
Yeah,
You know what?
I so move that we accept these people.
Second.
Third.
Yeah. Let's double check, man. Let's read this list back again, okay? Because I made
Just
abbreviations.
count them, Dan. Just count them again to make sure.
I want to actually read them off because
We're on time.
yeah, we're short on time. I know, but I don't want to, say we got 16 if we don't. And so anyway, I'm going to look at these check boxes maybe, okay, see, the thing is I took real quick notes. I couldn't type as fast as he was reading those off. And those first couple, I don't know if I got exactly right. And so let's just see.
Well, let's make sure we get them right.
Right. Okay. So I got Jean-Michel number 1. Number 2 on the list, I only put down 2 letters. I put LN, and I don't know who that is. If I met Robin, no.
Lou Novak.
Oh yeah, right. Of course. Okay, Lou Novak. Right. And then I got John Anthony. And I got Marcia Squire. Hang on. Let me make sure that I spelled her name wrong. And then I got Jessica M, and I got me, and I got Amy, I got Robin, I got Melissa Lamb, I got Jeff Sparling, I got Rick S, I got Frank Foster, I got Rubley, I forget his first name, I got Boyle, S. Boyle, I got Monica, and I got Destiny C. Okay?
That's 16.
Yep.
But unless Monica is a citizen, she's not eligible.
Now, Monica, are we talking about the same Monica down there in your neighborhood down there, Jackson or something?
Yeah.
She's a Green Party of Michigan member, right? She got to be a member, a resident of Michigan.
Yeah, I am a resident of Michigan, but I'm German Canadian.
Got to be different, don't you?
Sorry, not my fault. My parents did it. But yeah, I'd love to help, but I guess if I can't go, I can't go.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Huh. Well, that's different.
We need one more yet.
You can put me, you guys can put me down as the other person.
Okay, thanks, Jennifer.
Yeah,
Thank you, Jennifer.
Yep, you're welcome.
We can have a big party in Lansing then, huh?
Yeah, right. Right.
It'll be a big party across the country, Rita.
So do we have consensus on this list? Very good. Good luck to all of you. Enjoy that party.
Yeah.
There's also just a quick thing. Hopefully this will be quick. John Anthony, you put in the agenda that you put down about the delegates voting in the first round of the PNC. Do you need to explain to us now exactly what that means? Is it a certain percentage of us that vote for candidate A and then a certain percentage that votes for candidate B, et cetera, et cetera?
John Anthony said he was going to take some time off to go count votes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm here. Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah, I was trying to input some. I didn't have a lot of luck. I'm hoping I tried to send Daryl, just direct him to the information that I had in the file I'd sent him as to which votes those were. Maybe he can have a better input than I have. Sorry. Anyway, National Party convention rules say in the first round, our delegation is supposed to vote in proportion to the support each candidate or option, if we had a lot of support for uncommitted or no candidate or something, has in our party. So whatever the first choice votes are, we're supposed to vote in for us, and according to our plan at least, that's how our first round votes go in proportion. We have 15 votes at the convention. In the first round only, you can have half votes. So the spreadsheet that I worked up does try to proportion things out by half votes. But again, I don't know. I don't know if Daryl's work is checking mine exactly or not, or if he's managed to get the results in as if they came out different from what I had or not. Again, I can tell you what I had and see how that works out if you'd like or not.
Yeah, good.
All right, but just one note. Sorry. In second and future other rounds, if there are any, then the delegates themselves can vote according to their own consciences, and that's when we give them. That is for what we give them more in-depth analysis of, well, who would win if the voting had been run by IRV, or if we were going with some approval voting or other things like that. But they don't need that until the convention itself, of course.
Good. Yeah.
Can we have a final result?
Could I take this one? What John Anthony just said is that Daryl's keying in the ballots that John Anthony got in the mail. And so Daryl's keying those into the website right now. And he is able to print out the ones then what we have on the website. And so there's a duplication here. There's redundancy. The web app will calculate and show the results immediately. And then we can count up the results manually and just double check and make sure everything's the same. Anyway, you can't see it you can, John Michelle, and John Anthony can, and Daryl can, and I can see the results on the website, but most people can't. So he's looking at the results, and what it's doing is it's presenting the counts, but also then the percentage of number one rank for each candidate, and it's including the write-ins. And it's amazing, by the way, how many people have written in Jesse Ventura. It looks like actually Jesse Ventura might even be winning this race as a write-in, even though he's not even a candidate. But back to you guys.
If you want my preliminary numbers, again, I can give them to you, but and they should be pretty close. But
I would rather have a final
that's
official
fine.
tally.
That's fine if we can get them.
I'm looking right now. I see 70 votes, and he may still be keying them in. We're gonna look. These are 70 rank one votes. Now, some people made mistakes and didn't key in a rank, like they'll write in Jesse Ventura or Bernie Sanders, but then fail to key in a rank number. And so the name shows up at no rank. And so you can't count that. Other people created a ballot and didn't vote for anybody. And so that's not being counted, but I'm counting 70 what I saw last was 70 rank one votes from different members.
Yeah. I was trying to interpret what the voters' intent didn't seem to be. If somebody voted, put down a mark for only one candidate, that's pretty well got to be their first choice.
Yeah, you would guess so,
Yeah.
but I can't tell the computer to make decisions like that.
No, not. That's why we have to work together.
Right.
Humans and computers.
Right.
So we'll wait to see the results.
Yeah, I guess. I'll give Daryl a call, see where he's at with it right now.
Okay. In the meantime, hopefully we can go through this real quick because we're running pretty close to on schedule.
How's it going?
There is a proposal to amend the bylaws. That John Anthony made. Actually, I made it on behalf of the bylaws committee and John Anthony.
Yeah, and he won't talk to me. You're gonna have to tell him what you need.
John Anthony, if you want to go ahead and give a quick explanation of what that is.
Hold on, I've got to get some towels for somebody. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Sorry.
While he's gone, I'll try and read the proposal to you. Okay. This is to amend Article 8 nomination, Section 2, County and District Nominating Caucuses, subsection A. Okay, the proposed wording would be, at the request of at least 3 GPMI members in a county or district, GPMI shall call a county or district nominating caucus in accordance with party rules and state law to nominate candidates for partisan offices, and the caucuses so chooses to endorse candidates for nonpartisan office, serving constituents entirely within the county or district. The requests including the planned dates, times, and places of the caucus shall be made either at an SMM or to the SCC at least 50 days prior to their year's slate convention, or to the SCC at least 28 days before a caucus to be held after the state convention. A nominating caucus may be held at a state convention if a timely request is so asked.
Terry on staff.
That's it.
Can we get that posted in the chat?
I believe it's part of the packet. Yeah, so it should be able to be worked out. All right. The main idea was just to avoid the problem we had this year, that with the convention, when there was almost no way to have a caucus after the convention. We actually passed we passed a proposal to make it at least somewhat possible by having the SEC reserve caucusing rights for all the other counties, just in case. But the idea of this is to say that we have to keep track of when caucuses may happen before the convention, because if we nominate somebody at a caucus, then nobody can nominate anybody for an office in that county at the convention, and vice versa. If you nominate somebody for an in-county office at the convention, then you can't have a caucus afterwards. So that's why we have to coordinate the two. But after the convention, if somebody decides, oh, I do want to run for something after all, then as long as the convention didn't nominate anybody in that county, we should be able to arrange for a caucus. And so we tried to make that a little bit more automatic, that it was possible. We need, since it's a state party that actually gives the notice out and has to be at least 14 days before the caucus, I suggested a 28 days advance period for the request to come to the state party from the local people who are want to organize the caucus. You want to cut that down to 21. That's up to the body here.
I got to interject something here. Is it okay? Hey, can I interject something?
You are. Go ahead.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. And so anyway, I was talking with Daryl. Sorry to interrupt. Here's what we need, man. John Anthony, Daryl doesn't have what he needs. I don't know. How many ballots do you have, John Anthony? Paper ballots.
You're muted, John.
I have 7 ballots, 21 lines total.
Okay.
They're on the last sheet in the bottom rows in a different font even.
Yeah, one of you guys has to key in each one of those ballots. It's fast. It's easy to do.
I tried. I can't. It doesn't work for me. I don't know why.
Well, Daryl will do it for you, but he needs those ballots, and he doesn't have them. He says he's getting some results. He's getting like the analysis, but he needs the ballots themselves. He needs what each vote was.
Is it possible? I just want to real quick just to maybe fix this issue. John Anthony, is it possible for you to take a photo of each one of the ballots and put them in a shared Google Drive or something, so that way you guys can share the
I don't have a
information?
Google Drive. I don't have a Google Drive, but I'll see what I can do.
That'll do it.
If I can.
There's only 7 of them. It won't take.
I can see if I can upload them somewhere.
You could take a picture of all of them, maybe.
Yeah, and just even attach
Put them in an email.
Yeah, I gotta get them somewhere. Where do I send them though?
Yeah, you can send email them to me, John Anthony.
I'll send them to you. All right. I'll
Beautiful.
Yeah, send them to the membership.
I have to
email.
send it to my own computer and then because I don't have my phone. My phone isn't hooked up to my computer either. But
okay, all right.
I'll work on it.
Okay.
We'll get that done.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a cup of coffee. Whoa.
Looks like this is going to take a little bit of time. So my suggestion on this bylaws proposal that we refer it back to the SCC for decision. Is everybody fine with that? I know it's supposed to be done in an SMM, but
I'm fine with making a motion to approve. Monica is second in the chat.
Second from here.
Okay.
Actually, Jim, under our the bylaws say that the bylaws have to be amended at an SMM. The SCC can't do it.
Sherry on stack.
And we got a motion in a couple seconds.
If there's no discussion, then it's approved by consensus.
I guess if there's no discussion.
Cool.
I put my question in the chat and I thought I'd raise my hand. Why does it take 50 days notice before a convention? Because the convention notice doesn't have to go out before 30 days in advance. So 50 just seems like an awfully long
50
time.
is what the bylaws require.
But we're amending the bylaws.
You want to make a friendly amendment to make it 30 days?
No, it'd have to be more like 40. Then 30-day notice is what the GPMI has to give about the convention itself. So this should be known before the convention notice goes out. But I didn't understand why it needed a whole 50 days in advance. And all John Anthony said before is it's shorter than it used to be. Well, I don't care what it used to be. But 50 days just seemed to be a long time. And it doesn't say that the SEC has to approve it. It's just we have to give this is our notice of what we're going to do.
Do you want to amend, make a friendly amendment to make it 40 days then?
Yes.
I will accept that friendly amendment.
Thank you, Jennifer. As the two people who are leading caucuses,
Lou's our leader. I'm just the helper.
well,
Sherry and Jennifer, do you feel that this amendment will be helpful or this change will be helpful?
Yes, absolutely. I think we have currently a case that there are some members in Genesee County that are interested in holding a caucus that could not be on this meeting called tonight. So I think it would be directly relevant this year for some of our locals and for us to get more Greens on the ballot.
okay, we have someone who's saying 45. That's not, this isn't an auction. What happened ultimately is the 50 days were, most of the 50 days, nothing got done anyway, for about 18 of them. We just twiddled our thumbs.
We could pick any number. I think 40 is fine.
Okay, then you've got my motion, my friendly amendment, and Jennifer accepted it and she'd made the motion. So we need what? I can second this too. So unless someone else seconded Jennifer, I can't remember.
I seconded it.
Okay, so we've got it seconded as 40 days, right?
Yes.
Sounds good to me. Sounds acceptable.
Not,
I'd like to hear why John Anthony says 50, and that's the law or
no.
the bylaws. You're muted, John. John Anthony, you're muted.
I can't do this 7 different directions all at once anymore, folks.
You need some sleep.
Yes, I do, among other things. Anyway, 50 days is the current bylaw. It was 60. There are more arrangements that go into a convention than into an ordinary SMM. If we shorten it any great deal more, we're going to run into problems. But I don't know that from experience, other than the experience we had back when the rule was 75 days, and I jumped in to try and get a venue here in Marshall for the 2008 convention because Matt Abel, who was our meeting manager, got busy with organizing the national convention, and we didn't get the arrangements done for ours. I think we had about 50 or 55 days then.
Okay, so it's still an arbitrary number. It's not 50 necessarily by law.
Yeah, yeah. The biggest practical problem is making sure we can coordinate both the announcements for and preparations for the convention itself and coordinate with possibilities of caucuses beforehand.
Jim, do you want to?
Oh, we're still looking. Yeah, we're still
resubmit.
looking at the 40-day number. That's been the friendly amendment to this bylaws change. What do you think? Do we have consensus on that, on the bylaws change?
I'm standing aside for the moment. I'm not approving, but I will stand aside for right now.
Okay.
Looks like we have consensus. Phew. Thank you all. Give me a minute. I'm going to take a deep breath. Well, you know what? We've made it through everything. Any final thoughts from anyone before we close for the day? I know Genesee County, hopefully this will help them get organized for a caucus. Any final thoughts? How'd it go? What do you think?
What do you
Do
think?
pretty good?
Dying here myself, thanks.
Sherry Wells on stack.
Yeah, I put in the chat, this is something I had done 4 years ago, or I did a rough draft of something that had all our education candidates. We have 5 people running for the education, the statewide education things. I would like to see a single lit piece with all 5 of them. The party would pay for it. And so we need to raise money for that, for the party to do that. But that single lit piece could be distributed by anyone and everyone running for office in the state, because those are our statewide candidates. And I think that would be wonderful, and it would show a lot more presence. So running that by everybody, and I'd like to see if I get a few people that would like to consider that idea.
Tom Mayer.
We are on that thing because I got up and just came back. Daryl.
You're muted, Tom.
Tom, you're muted.
Tom, you're muted.
Uh-oh, there you go.
Still muted. Turned off the video, not turned on the mic. All right, let's move to Jessica.
I just want to say for our first online meeting-ish, I think it ran rather well. I'd like to maybe offer to help. Like, I know it was hard for people to find like how to raise hands, how to, if there's some people who would like help with understanding like a Zoom format or whatever, maybe we could put out, or I'd even be willing to make like some videos and be like, hey, this is how you do this. This is how you check this, and just kind of making it, because especially since going forward, COVID or not, we should probably have some online access, especially for our farther away members. So I think that's something that we should look forward to incorporating from here on out to help people. And I guess that's pretty much it.
It's nice to sit at home to do this and not have to drive.
Hello, can
Tom,
you hear me
we can
now?
hear you. We can hear you now.
Okay, I freaked out because I lost the video part of this program. Anyways, I support what Sherry said. There should be all the candidates running for the 4 education categories on one piece of literature. That's a great idea, and probably in the shape of a postcard, so it can also be mailed. And I'm also proposing that I can call a meeting to help candidates, a candidate training meeting in July, maybe 30 days from now. And I'd like to hold it in Traverse City, and we'll allow it to be in person and on Zoom at the same time. So if I have support for that, I put my phone number in the comments, and you can find it there. You can text me or call me if you want to be put on that invite list. But it'd be pretty much for candidates or people that are going to work on campaigns to have some kind of a gathering and soon, like with 30 days from now. All right, thank you.
Hey, I got a question for Tom and for Lou.
Okay, what's the question, Dan?
Okay, so we're looking ahead now, and you remember I'm meeting manager, and so the responsibility, AKA blame, falls on me if we don't have details about upcoming meetings, actually a year out. Now, I know both of you guys got stuff coming up. You got the meeting in Detroit, we got a caucus in Detroit, we got a meeting up in Traverse City, and so I'm gonna need details as soon as you can get them to me, okay, man?
Okay, yeah, because there's somewhere in the agenda it said Traverse City hosting in November, I think, right?
Yeah, okay, and so, yeah, we just want to get things precise as we can, that's all.
Okay, that's good. But this other meeting would be kind of informal and not a state membership meeting, the one I'm suggesting for the candidate help. Thanks.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. look-
Jennifer Curlin, you're next on stack.
So I just wanted to make sure that all the candidates that are on know, I have just been volunteering my help with, whatever I can. If anyone who is running doesn't have a logo and wants some help with the logo, like I did for Sherry and some of our other candidates in Wayne County, I'm happy to help you and answer some questions in terms of like social media marketing and things like that. I will lend my help to any of our candidates. And also for those of you who are statewide candidates, if you would like to coordinate with Wayne County's strategic plan for elections, please reach out to me. We have some big plans to, do some advertising and to help our candidates as a slate so that we can get the word out across Wayne County. So if you are a statewide candidate, please reach out to me with your contact information so we can stay in touch for those kinds of things.
Thank you.
Marcia Squire.
Yeah, I just want to kind of give a similar sentiment as a candidate for any of my fellow candidates this year. If you get invited to anything, let me know, and I'm more than happy to be with you as in support, or if it's a multi-level type event or even as a local event. You can count on my support. Feel free to reach out to me, and I'll do everything in my power to make it to whatever you get invited to. I have a good vehicle, hybrid 2009, so I'm willing to travel. Just let me know.
Dan, go ahead.
Thanks. All I was going to say is that Daryl's still waiting. I could give you the results that we have, the 70 ballots we have counted up already, if you need them. If you don't, the hell with it. Back to you.
Jim Becklin.
Hey, Amy, are you there? Oh, hi. Oops.
Jim, you're next on stack.
All right, let's go to Rita.
I just wondered if there are a couple of people that would like to meet with me tomorrow, maybe as a little committee to go over the delegate results here and perhaps help me make a recommendation to the SCC on who we should select as the delegates and the alternates. Is there anybody who would like to volunteer for a little Zoom meeting tomorrow?
I could help you with that, Rita.
Yeah, okay.
Frank Foster.
Yeah,
Do that too.
okay. Okay.
And who else besides Frank?
Me.
This is Michael Malloy. Can I get on stack?
You're on stack. You're after Frank. Jim, you done with your?
Yeah, just to go ahead and get them, and then I have a couple things on the agenda that I forgot to mention.
Amy or Robin or Melissa or Amy. Go ahead, Amy. You're muted.
Okay. What's the question?
You raised your hand, so I'm going.
Oh, then it must have been Robin, and she's on the
Okay.
phone right now.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Frank.
I just so we can be clear here. Dan, could you give us the numbers for the 70 counted, please?
Yeah, sure.
No. Let's hear from the folks who are counting the votes, please. We have an electoral tabulation committee that was supposed to get a third member elected to it. And instead of releasing preliminary results, which I asked for, I think about an hour ago, and we said, no, we're going to wait till the votes are counted.
Live on YouTube.
We're about to leave a meeting that we were supposed to have this already done.
We're still doing it. It's not done.
I know. And you guys are, that's why I'm asking for a preliminary. We got 70 votes in.
I've sent photos of the ballots, 8 instead of 7. I forgot there was one envelope, 2 ballots. I've sent it to Daryl.
Thanks.
Got him. It was a big message.
Thanks.
Right. And again, I can give you a total of evaluation from about 102 ballots as far as I know them, but that's
I'm keying them in as we speak, you guys, right now.
yeah, good.
Okay, thanks, Daryl.
Be patient.
No. I don't know.
While we're waiting, just to
You're not
fill
counting,
up some
but-
time, can I get on stack?
Actually, Amy or Robin is first. Go ahead.
Okay, we have to go through the process, everybody. I know it's been a long day and I know you're tired, but we have to wait for this to be tabulated to be fair to the candidates. So there's a lot of rumors going on in chat. We don't know what's up. So everybody just chill a little bit, okay? We're almost there.
John Anthony. You're muted, John Anthony.
I'm sorry. Did want to give a small update. Some of you may have seen in the news that Michigan Values Life had been declared to fall short of its anti-abortion petition drive, but the Board of State Canvassers has decided to give them another chance with a bigger sample to see if that looks like they have enough overall. I've been in contact with Andre Gerald about this. I know we were both ready to volunteer to help do the review of the first sample, but Planned Parenthood has a blanket organization. They're doing it themselves, I think. Probably doing it again the same way.
Jim, I think you were on stack. Has to be on stack.
Yeah, just a couple things. Paperwork. Candidates, make sure that you get ready to do your filings. That's the nominations paperwork, including the certificate of nomination. And then also reminder to candidates to file starting campaign finance paperwork, statement of organization for non-federal candidates, and FCC Form 2, and maybe 1 for federal candidates. Just an FYI to keep that paperwork going.
Frank Foster.
Sorry, I didn't think I'd be that fast. So go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. John Anthony, question for you. I don't know if I need to bring that paperwork in personally or if someone else is going to do that.
Who is this?
Jean-Michel, 2nd District, U.S. Congress.
Well, that's a multi-county district, so the paperwork has to go to Lansing. If you can, they are taking some paperwork at least by email, and most places are also willing to take it by appointment with some people some places have drop boxes. I know some counties do.
Is there someone from the Green Party who is doing that for the congressional positions, the federal positions?
I don't know who's doing it yet for which places. That's one reason I want to be sure that I know who all has gotten what done. I'm going to take some time tonight or tomorrow to try and get that organized, and I want to be sure I have contact with everybody.
Thank you for that.
Our 2 new candidates.
John Anthony, don't do it tonight. Get some sleep. Do it tomorrow.
Due tomorrow, I think.
Yeah. There are only a couple of counties we need to worry about this time because a lot of the people that we're going to have to file with county clerks are the people that didn't show up. So we only have 2 or maybe 3. And I've been in contact with most of them already anyway, to some extent. If you are running for an office within a county, please let me know if you are available to make your delivery, make delivery of your paperwork to your county clerk. That would be a big help, actually, if you just email me. I have some appointment notes, and I've got to try to assemble them. I was rushing to get them yesterday afternoon before everybody closed.
I think you said originally after Frank was Michael. on the phone?
Well, hi. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to say that in regards to doing tutorials on Zoom, I remember answering certain problems that were coming up with the Zoom conference as we were going along while I was at home at my computer. And so I would be willing to take on the task of creating tutorials to help our Green Party navigate with Zoom and use it efficiently because, yeah, the more that we can use these technological tools available to us, the more powerful we become by even if it's just ourselves, you know, we become a social unit. And I thank everybody for their patience with myself today. And, you know, I hope good things for the Green Party going forward. Thank you very much.
Frank on stack.
All right. So I know we're waiting for the final count, but earlier it was said that Jesse is in a big lead. And I know he is because we had over 50 people vote for him the last couple of days for our We Want Jesse group. Yeah, Aaron wants to know if we should if we need to call Jesse or not. Aaron Fox.
As far as I know, Jesse is not running.
Well, he's going to win the state. You can't take it away from him.
You
The
don't know.
votes, you
You
can't.
don't know what he's won yet, Frank. Okay. Could you please wait until we hear the results and then we can argue over?
Okay.
50
Okay.
going up in
I'm
the
just
last days.
I'm just
throwing
saying.
votes on the website without any authentication or authorization. Thank you.
All right, Lou.
While
Amy
we're
on
waiting-
stack.
I'm sorry.
Hello, it's Robin. You know what? There's more to this than who wins the state. Somebody can come in and win. That doesn't mean they win all the delegates. So please call Aaron, call whoever you need to call. All of you chill out, wait. That's why we have a committee. Because even if Jesse were to win, there's still delegates that will be proportional according to percentages. That's going to take time. It's better to be careful than to sit here and put out false information. I mean, that's what the state's been accused of, not being fair. Some of you people in here are the people doing it. So let's be fair, please.
Anybody want to share some good news that they've heard lately?
Not necessarily. I just wanted to ask. I wanted to ask Jim and Frank Foster what time they want to meet with me tomorrow.
What time's good for you, Rita?
I don't, it really doesn't matter. I'm thinking somewhere like maybe 4 o'clock in the afternoon or.
That 4 o'clock's perfect.
Fine with me. As long as
Okay.
it isn't before 8 a.m. in the morning.
Right, okay.
I'm there with you there.
Plan on 4 o'clock. I'll send you on email notice. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. If you can send me one too, I don't know if I'll be able to sit in, but maybe I will. Maybe I'll be able to. I'd like to be able to sit in if I can, if it works out.
Okay, all right. I can do
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Just don't
Okay.
rely on me too much. That's all. Thank you.
I'll put you down with a question mark. And what I want to do, Don, is just come up with a recommendation that I can make to the SCC so that we can cut down a lot of discussion and back and forth stuff and whatever and try to resolve this quickly. Because I know that you have to turn all this in to the National Committee. You're muted, John.
For my button, sorry. I'll tell you what. Anybody want to talk about which logo we want to use to represent us on our little screen of the bigger Zoom, the National Convention Zoom?
Yeah, that's one of the things they ask for, isn't it?
Yeah.
Um,
They also want a particular official reporter, somebody to be the reporter for the thing.
yeah.
Yeah. So.
I don't know.
Now, we don't have a vignette that goes on the ballot anymore, of course, but we've used the old earth flower. We've used the leafy green, as I call it, the logo. That might be distinctive in some ways.
If you guys want, I can take a superimpose of the state of Michigan flag and our Michigan logo, and I can make something for us if you guys would like, and I can send it through the SCC before it goes out. I'd be happy to make something nice for us. If we know it needs to be a square or a rectangle or something, I can, make something to proportion with the state flag and our logo.
I think it's supposed
I'm
to be
fine
in the
with that,
nature of a banner.
I'm fine with that. Jennifer, I know is good at that stuff, so I'm good.
I would presume it has to be in proportion to the little screens we're seeing here.
Yeah.
I guess anyway. I shouldn't assume.
Yeah, yeah. I think so. They refer to it as a banner, to put behind our state. So our state, whatever, reporter maybe.
Back in 2014, I know Green Party US changed our style guidelines, and I'd gone through and put a whole bunch of graphics together based on that, squares, banners of various sizes, used the diamonds that they created and everything else. So if you want any of that kind of design work done, I can offer a little help. I've got to do some stuff for my own sites right now, so I'm going to be busy doing design work right now. Thanks.
Jim on stack.
Oh, yeah, I almost forgot what I was gonna say. We have also used, I think, the sunflower as the logo too, so that's a possibility. But Jennifer, I know you've done logos for all the locals and before. To me, I'd appreciate you doing something.
I'd be happy to. And Stephen, you and I can chat and I'll get some of your ideas and we can work on it together.
Great.
That's good. Thanks.
But you need to do it quickly because it's got to go in on the application form or whatever that we have to send in for our candidates and whatever.
Do you have a date when that needs to be in?
Theoretically, it's due on Monday.
Okay. I can work on it tomorrow.
Yeah. Now, the question is whether we can decide it, but yeah. And then that's the graphic. And again, graphic shouldn't be as hard to decide as figuring out who's going to be which delegation, making the ties and diverse and all. While we're still here, does anybody else want to speak up and say, well, okay, maybe I'll run for something too?
During the Wayne County caucus, I'll be announcing running for Michigan House District 3, which is completely inside Wayne County. The last time I ran as a Green Party candidate was 2014. I ran for U.S. Congress, 14th District, against Brenda Lawrence on the seat that Gary Peters had vacated. I'm working on understanding better this whole defund the police. I really think that there's a dismantling that has to take place so that proper justice comes about. And community-based work as well as social health, social and mental health have to be brought in on that. You heard me previously talking with John Lawrence a little bit on some of the prison reform that we need and jail reform that we need to have. I'm also a supporter for universal basic income and a few other things as well. I've been an environmental justice fighter. I'm on the streets with people trying to do their best to get people's water turned back on in Detroit, because having no water in your home is a violation of human rights. But here in Detroit, it's just seen as a bill that's not paid, and they criminalize people by doing this, and it affects community health as well as a result. I've been on the front lines on some of the protest marches. I'm kind of not doing that today where I would usually do it. So that's a little bit about me.
And
Thank you.
District 3 has no incumbent. The person there is term limited now.
Yes, Wendell Bird is term limited. The people that I'll be running against range from Al Williams to China Cochran, who's ran 3 times for that seat. John Cromer will be running, and probably a name that most people in Michigan recognize is Sri Thanadar. And my guess is that the Democrats will probably pull money through, and Sri will wind up being the Democratic hopeful. And I'd like to be the Green Party up against him. It also establishes a name recognition in the 3rd district, of which city council district for the city of Detroit, number 3, is also overlaid in the same area. So this gives me an opportunity to run for state house. And if that fails, I've actually got a chance to get into the city council as a result and move from there. So it's a little bit of a strategic run for office.
A long-range plan. Wonderful.
So thank you for hearing me out. It's a little before. I'm still putting everything together at the moment. Kind of been thinking about this and thinking about it, but haven't quite decided. And it's just been the past couple of days I've just said, you know what, I just got to put myself in and do it. Thank you.
Does somebody have a phone ringing?
Now the moment you've all been waiting for. I'll ask, can you hear me okay?
We hear you fine.
Oh, good. Okay. So what do you want to do? You want to know the results? Okay, what I probably should do is reveal the button so that you can look at the results yourself. Right now, only certain people can see the results on the website, and I'll tell you what they are. But what I really ought to do is just make that button available so everybody can see it. And so you'll go into the ballot like you normally do, and it won't be ready right away. Matter of fact, you might not even see the ballot button right away.
Can you just share your screen then?
How's that? What's that?
I think, can you just share your screen and show us?
Oh, I'll just tell you. Let me see what it says. Anyway, it took a little longer than I thought. This thing's kind of clunky. I threw this part of it together in a hurry. And so it took me a little while to key in the data. Anyway, and it turns out that some of these ballots had already been keyed in, like for instance, John Anthony's. And that took me a little time too, because I'd key them in and I'd see results and I'd think, well, I didn't key those in yet. What did I do wrong? But anyway, he had keyed that in himself. And this happened with some other ones too.
Only partly.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So I got it straightened. But what I see is now 72 votes, 72 rank 1 votes on the website. And again, John Anthony will be able to print these out, and he's going to be doing his calculations manually to check this out. I already told you the computer's not counting write-in votes for Jesse Ventura if there was no rank associated with it, but John Anthony might say that it should be. And so this isn't a final thing. This is what the website says. The website says 72 ballots, and I'll show you the website. Yeah. I don't know if you can see that or not. No.
Share the screen, Dan.
What's that?
Share the screen.
It's on a different computer. I'll just give you the thing right now.
I have it up. I can share it.
Ah, good, thanks.
From my computer if you want.
Beautiful. Thank you. You technical wizards.
Okay, as long as I am
You-
able to screen share.
No,
You
you're not a
young-
host. It's got to be a host.
You young people.
Host has to screen share?
Oh, you can
That's the way
change
it's set up. Yep.
I think I can make Rita a host, can I?
Or you can change the permission and allow.
Yeah, you can make me a co-host.
A lot of ways to skin this cat.
You should be able to make me a co-host.
I don't see that I can.
Dan made me a co-host on another meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
there's
you logged
already
in.
we're already at our limit of 3.
Yeah. I'd have to log out in order for you to do that. I could do that, I suppose. I don't
can
know.
log
Here,
out. And,
I'm gonna log out, and then you put Rita up. All right.
Thanks, Darrell. Thanks, man.
okay.
All right.
Jim Beckles saying a little prayer. Yeah.
Where is Rita?
Rita, she's right there.
I'm right here.
Here we go.
Rita looks so amused. Well, there you are. Hi.
Yeah, well, you were just looking at my,
Yeah, your still picture.
yeah.
Okay, you are a co-host now. I hope that means that you can share.
Okay. Hang on just a second. I need to
Nice
shut.
going. Nice going, Jean-Michel.
If not, you can send me the file and I can share it.
Okay, well, here, I'll,
Is it a file or is it a link?
okay, should be up. I gotta move this.
It's coming.
Whoa, that isn't
There.
what you're supposed to see.
That's
This one.
Facebook.
There, okay. I was trying to move my screen.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
And
that's
so-
what he's trying to talk about here.
Until just recently, Howie was way over 50%. But he just took a crash in the last few days. And the write-in votes, we don't have a way to calculate write-in votes because you might spell the name differently, and people do. And so we just list those down at the very bottom. If Rita was to scan all the way through this thing, you'd see way down at the
Yeah,
bottom.
here, I'll run down here.
A
These
listing of
are,
all the write-ins.
there's a list of the write-ins.
Yeah, and so it is calculating, it is counting up the number one ranks for these write-ins, but it isn't associating them with any candidate because it's a write-in. It isn't a candidate in the database, it's a write-in. And so it's just text. And so we have to count those up
What did
manually.
I do now? Sorry.
So that was quite.
So we don't have an answer, is what you're saying.
Well, we don't have, if with ranked choice voting, normally if somebody collects 50% of the rank 1 votes, it's settled on the first round. This one, I don't think anybody got 50%. And we won't know how many Jesse got until we calculate that manually. But we do know that nobody got 50%.
Clarifying question.
I don't know who said that.
Yeah, go ahead, whoever said that.
This was Lou Novak here. Okay, the ranked choice voting, right? We go through various ranks in order to determine who would be the ultimate winner. But previously, when we do these votes for our presidential nominating convention, we allocate the delegates in
Right.
proportion to the number of votes they got.
Right.
It was certainly very unclear to me why we were using ranked choice voting with respect to allocating our delegates.
I don't know.
Well, who set this system up? Whose idea was it to use this tool to vote for our presidential nominees and our primary?
Who knows?
Who knows? Somebody should know.
You would think so.
Wow.
Now, hold on.
All right, I understand. Nobody wants to take.
Hold on. Please. I'm the only one who ever pays attention to this stuff before conventions, so I'm the one who prepares the plans. The way the plan says we were counting is basically the same we've been using for the past several elections at least. And as I said before, on the first round at the National Convention, our vote is supposed to be proportional to the first choice votes in our poll. We give the delegation more detailed analysis looking at things like IRV or approval voting for later rounds if there are any. But the first round votes are supposed to be in proportion to the first choice votes in the poll. Now, I see 102 total ranked 1 votes, which matches what I had on my spreadsheet. So so we're close there. I certainly can believe that I might have made a typo here and there, and I could go with the numbers we have here. We have 48 for Hawkins, 19 for Hunter. Can we go any farther down with this? Rita, can you go down with that? Oh, sorry. Slow down. Sorry. I was trying to catch it up. Sorry, my fault. All right. No, 1 vote. No first choice votes for Roldy. 1 for Lambert. 1 for Buxer Lachocki and 1 for S-Play. 2 for Siddinam Krishnamum Curry. 1 for Chad Wilson. And then by my count, I had, let me look at my spreadsheet, sorry. I had 4 write-in votes for Bernie Sanders and 26 for Jesse Ventura for first place votes.
I don't know about you. I'm seeing double rows.
Double what?
Yeah, my display looks funny. And so like for each of those candidates, I got 2 rows of data. And I don't when I look at the website, but I do when I look at this thing.
Now, I don't know. All right. Now, those totals are just a little bit off what I had, but not too far. So if we assume that the slight differences in that case are due to my transcription errors, which is again is possible. Let's read those numbers back again. 48 for Hawkins, 19 for Hunter, I believe it was. And we'll go back up a little. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
48 Hawkins, 19 Hunter. Keep going. All right, 0 for Roldy, 1 for Lambert. 0 for Lachocki and 1 from S-Play. 2 for Curry and 1 for Wilson. So checking that for a moment. That's 48, 67, 9, 71, 72. That's right. And then 4, and then of the 30 first place votes that were write-ins, my tally had 4 for Sanders and 26 for Ventura.
Right. I see what you're saying, John Anthony. I was looking at percentages. You were looking at counts. They were very close.
Yeah, but only with 102 votes, we should be pretty close. Yeah. Now, if we divide each of those by 102, that's the total number of votes to get percentages, and then multiply it by 15, we should find out how many delegates they each get. Now, 1 vote out of 102 is not going to be very much. It's going to be well less than even 1/4%. It's less than 1%. It'll be less than 1/4 of a delegate. And with 102 votes, that's easy. 17 would be a 1/6. That'd be 2.5 delegates. Well, let me see if we can just do it very quickly with a quick new spreadsheet on just those numbers. Be right back with you, I promise you.
I'm pleased with all the participation we see here.
Hold on a moment. Okay. Equals. I'm just going to calculate percentages for each one.
Let me just interject something here too. There's a details button there that we're not clicking, and that shows, like John Anthony, the details of every single vote that was cast.
That was what I
When
was
it was
using.
cast, when it was updated, and you can print that out too, but we're not gonna make that available to everybody, I don't think.
All
I
right.
just clicked on it.
Too late, huh? You probably want to back that up.
Okay, I'll back up here.
Yeah.
All right. Now,
You don't want everybody to see that.
all right. According to my very quick, dumpy little spreadsheet, I'm going to see if I can paste this into the chat, just the quick cells, and see if it'll line up for us here.
Thanks, John Anthony.
And make sure I get to everybody first. Come on, everyone. Thank you. All right.
Do you take the trophy for the hardest worker every single year, like for the last 20 years?
Oh no. All right. So I didn't bother converting to percentage. It's just decimals there. Sorry. You can see that 48 votes for Hawkins is 0.4705888, so on of the total number of first place votes.
Yeah, so it's like 47.
Rounding it off to the half vote. Again, we can have half votes in the first round. So Hawkins gets 7 delegates, Hunter gets 3, Curry and Sanders each get a half, and Ventura gets 4.
Oh, great.
No.
Who gets the 2 half votes?
Curry and Sanders.
But Sanders has twice as many votes as Curry. Sanders has 4 and Curry has 2.
Yeah. Well, if you see the fraction of first place votes for Curry is just under 0.02 under 2%, because it's 2 votes out of 102. Multiply that by 15 delegates, and you get just about 0.3 of a delegate, which rounds off to half a delegate. Whereas for Sanders, it rounds down from about 0.6 delegates.
I did taxes one year, and man, when you're talking about somebody's money and you're talking about rounding like that, because the government rounds too.
Yes, they do.
They don't like hearing that at all.
Yeah.
Generally.
All right. I can save that little spreadsheet and put it into percentages and give an unrounded figure and then a rounded figure if you'd like.
Thanks, John Anthony.
I can send that around. I can post that or send it or whatever anybody wants.
I can't wait to see the file name.
Okay, hold on. Let me see here. Let me insert a column. I should probably flip this over, but I'm just going to take it easy for this one right now.
Okay. Do you try to use like every single letter in the alphabet when you're using a file name?
No, I just try to identify what I can as to what stage it is all. Now, let me format that to a couple of, actually,
I put together a web app one time for this group of psychologists, and this one guy, doctor, for his username, he used his entire profile, his entire bio, it's like his bio. That's what he used for his username.
Okay, let me get this right here. Okay. Let's see, I'm gonna. Okay, let's see. 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 I'm gonna. Okay, let's see Okay. Let me save it into Excel so some people who like it that way can see it too. All right. There shouldn't be any problem with that. Okay. And all right. I have the files. Let me see. Where do you want me to do? What do you want to try to? What am I trying to do? Should I email them somewhere or should I?
If you want, and I could
Post them in the chat.
Do you want me to stop screen share here?
There.
Please. Yeah. Thank you, Rita.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
There we go.
Should you let Daryl back in?
I don't think he's back in.
Hold on. Maybe I can do this. Hold on a minute. I'm seeing an attachment. I'm a place to actually attach a document.
Okay.
Try that.
11.
Oh, wow.
We don't have 15 there.
15.
Yeah, there's 15 there. 7
halves.
is 10, 4 is 14, and the 2 halves make it.
I don't know. I saw the message and now it went away and I can't get back to it.
Oh.
Okay.
I have an awful time with this message thing down here, this chat box. Maybe I should put it full screen. Maybe that'd work better. Oh, okay. You got an Excel file here.
Yeah, yeah, and I'll see if I can put it into a PDF too, maybe in case that's easier.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Okay. I'm running out.
Okay, there's that.
Let's see.
Has anybody heard of anybody who wasn't able to come into this meeting that wanted to?
Yes.
I had, but I think
There was an email from someone who said they were a member a long time ago and couldn't get in. And I honestly did not have time to deal with it. So.
Hey, you reminded me of something.
okay, there's a PDF now too. That's any easier.
You reminded me of something too. This Dominic Scott, his wife, I see in the member list, but I didn't see Dominic in the member list, and so I didn't count him, and I didn't add it to the ballot. Okay.
Yeah, understandable. I don't know. Yeah.
A message from Nick Rowley in one of the candidate chats on Facebook saying that he couldn't get in.
Hey,
I don't
Rita.
know. If people can't get in, you should just give them the phone number next time. Like that way, I mean, you can't call in. Like that's on you.
Well, if we don't count him, let's just say see what the difference would have been.
Then I put these strawberries downstairs.
Oh, I wonder who this is.
Sitting out here all day.
Marcia Stack.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Marcia.
Did I miss the rank 2 because nobody got the 50%, or are you just going by this rank 1? Because I'm not seeing anybody with the, like you said, a clear majority. So wouldn't the people who were at the bottom, then their second choices get counted in rank choice voting, or did I miss that?
It's up to the SEC.
Right.
Wasn't that decided before?
Lou Stack.
John Anthony's talking, but he's mute.
Keep turning back. Anyway, tried to explain this before. Sorry. For the first round, we count the first choice ballots. That's what our plan says. That's what we've been doing for several different presidential elections before this. If the voting in at the national convention goes to 2 or more rounds, then we provide more and more in-depth analysis, including including IRV ranked choice voting, approval, whatever else. We can do it by sports polls if we want, as a way of guiding the individual delegates' consciences then. But the national rules do say that the first round votes are supposed to be proportional to the support of the candidates and the other options in the state. So that's the way we've done it before, is to count the first place votes for the first round.
Yep. That's the way I understood it. And you have the information if you want to use it for how people rank the other stuff, the other ranks.
So are we getting any closer to an official result?
I thought we basically had it.
Yeah, I thought so.
Okay, that just was not made clear to me. That we were
I have
still
a
working on it.
question.
I think people are stunned, but go ahead, Rita.
Well, while we're all here, John Anthony, would you like to be the reporter for the group, the delegates?
Lou Stack.
Go ahead, Lou.
I would like to leave that to the delegation to decide. I don't know that we've seen the results of that voting yet, have we? Or
Yes, we have. John Anthony sent it out to everybody. John Anthony has the highest number of approvals. That's why I asked him if he wanted to be the reporter.
Is that one of the documents we just linked to the packet?
Probably. I can, since I now see a file upload, I can try and upload that here too, so people can see it. Remember, we decided to use the bottom half of the page, but I'll find that.
That's right. Okay, good. That is attached to the packet, by the way.
Yeah, I thought it was. Okay. There it is.
Hey,
One-page PDF.
I'm heading out, y'all. Thanks,
Yeah.
everybody. Woohoo. Go Howie.
Yeah. I would also like to have the delegation choose the reporter. On the other hand, we're supposed to report this by Monday if we can, and I don't know if we can get the delegation by then. Because we still have to decide who exactly.
That's why I'm asking, because it would be difficult to get all the delegations together to make that decision.
Yeah. Well, I suppose I would be willing to if it makes things a lot easier. On the other hand, I would just as soon support somebody else. I would almost rather have a woman do it, because we're going to be likely going to be a little bit under 50% in representation on that as well. We had like 13 and 20, as I remember.
Lou, I see you raising your hand.
I think Amy was the second choice.
Amy was second, yeah.
Yeah. And Robin after that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Is Amy still on here somewhere?
no, she's left.
She left?
I was going to ask Jennifer Kurland, or at least nominate Jennifer, but she's left as well.
I don't think she's in the delegation.
Is Jennifer on here?
I think she's gone.
Well, Jennifer's not on the list that I see. Did she even apply to be a delegate?
No, she didn't.
Yeah, she's not on here, Lou.
She mentioned if there was like something at the very end, she was late as far as volunteering.
Okay, and Amy left. I don't know. We can maybe ask Amy about it.
I will if I got up. I'd just as soon have one of them if they're willing.
Well, it's okay. That's why I'm asking you. If you're not, if you don't want to, if you'd rather not do it, we'll go next in line then. I don't know. Have we finished all our business now?
Yes, we have.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
gonna have to follow up after this meeting with what it is that I need to do as the secretary and, you know, especially as the secretary. But we can talk about that after the meeting.
You have to take a bunch of paperwork to the Bureau of Elections on Monday.
Okay.
Now, he doesn't have to, but it helps because he's one of the ones who would be signing it,
Right.
signing the certificate of nomination.
Okay.
He and Jim. And you know, and they do require original signatures on that form.
Yeah.
I went through that with Eric Siegel last time.
Yeah.
They wanted one of those with both original signatures on it. So Sherry had to bring an extra copy with Eric's signature on it to bring papers to Lansing so I could sign another original.
Yeah. I don't want. Yeah. Probably want to print up 6 or 7 copies at least. or actually, since we can email things to some extent this year because of COVID and all, we can make sure that it gets to everybody who needs to get it to it.
Yeah.
Make sure all the
Well, you know, if Dan's bringing down Lansing, Jim is here. So Jim is the chair and Dan is the secretary.
Yeah.
They could sign the originals and.
Yeah, I'll have to go to a couple of county clerks too. That's all. We can get that done.
Yeah.
Like we're about wrapped up, folks. Looks like there's only about 21 of us left here.
Yeah, everybody else gave up and quit, huh?
Shall we call it a day?
Yeah, I think we're all done.
Yeah, not too bad. It's just a little after 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I think everybody did a wonderful job. Jean-Michel, thanks so much. You too, Jim.
Yeah, man.
Carol.
Yes, thank you. Thank you,
Yeah, the stars, man.
everybody that participated.
Yep.
Real.
Been a long day. Don't take any of this personal, Lou. Please. It wasn't at you guys. We knew Hawkins gonna win tomorrow anyways with his 3 because he only needs 3 delegates. So because of that other group.
This one. Very
That's
know
wonderful.
that.
Wonderful participation. That's great.
Tom on stack.
I'm still willing to help with you guys with the party. So, I mean, Tom, Robin, you still got my vote.
I just want to thank everybody for attending the meeting today and all the support everybody gives each other. This is going to be a great election, and this is the time for the Green Party to really get a lot of publicity because we're on the right side of all these big issues. Thank you.
Here, here.
Great.
If anybody needs me, email me. Take care, all.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much, John Anthony.
All right, everybody.
Take care, everyone. Peace.
Bye.
And I'll be chatting with Jim and Frank tomorrow.
Yep.
Okay.
Did you get my email? Did you get my email?
Is
Rita?
it the one? Is it the one that's on the membership list?
Yes.
Okay, I can get it off the membership list.
Okay. Yeah.
Dan, you working tomorrow?
For you.
And we said 4 o'clock for tomorrow, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Dan,
Yeah.
That's Eastern
I gotta
time.
have a little Zoom meeting tomorrow at 4 o'clock. I'm gonna use your sign-in information.
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
I'll text it to you.
You don't have to
Whoever
join us, I don't think. I think we can just do it.
Sure.
Because, I'll fix it so we can show up before the host and
Right.
we'll just finish the meeting before you show up.
Wonderful.
Now,
Okay.
everyone, I am willing to help with any campaigns.
That's great.
And
Whoever's, oh, sorry.
I mean, I'm going to vote for whoever, Howie's going to win it. I'm still going to vote for Howie. So this was kind of like to get back at that draft Jesse fucking Chad Wilson group made. So thank you guys. I'm sorry that we overloaded you the last 2 days, but
yeah.
Aaron Fox and they're dragging him through the mud. They're dragging Robin through the mud. And they're trying to take credit for all the work that we did. So
In the past now.
Yep, we just had to give show them. So
it's great, Frank. Nice meeting you.
It's nice meeting you, Dan. We'll be talking still, Dan.
Good, good.
Whoever's hosting the Zoom meeting, be sure that you properly close out for everybody, not just yourself, because I'm away from my keyboard right now, so I won't be able to close out my own account, and the video won't end as long as somebody's logged in. So whoever is the Zoom host, just make sure that everybody gets logged out so the video will end.
Noted. Thank you. Dan, let me know tomorrow if you need some help running anything to Lansing or.
Okay, thanks,
whatever,
John
so-
Michelle. Thanks
yeah.
so much. Yeah, good. Okay, yep. Yeah, good. And I'm free tomorrow. To answer your question, I'm free tomorrow, and so.
Me too.
Good, excellent, man. Thank you. Good working with you.
Care,
See y'all later.
Right.
I'm out of here.
Jim, Rita, I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
See you,
All
Frank.
right.
See you, Rita.
All right, I'm going to end the meeting unless anybody has any objections.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Objections? I'm ending the meeting.
Bye, all.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Maybe I'm ending the meeting.
Maybe, yeah.
All right, here we go.